Hey, welcome back, Ram fans. Following up on the Rams Seahawks game with some more content here. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, hopefully you caught my quick recap already. All of this will be on the podcast. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't miss anything. This segment, I'm going to review my Fearsome Four keys to victory for the Rams. I'm going to tell you what my Fearsome Four big plays were, the ones that sealed the win for the Rams, and then we'll get into some game notes, player props, game balls, coach's corner, take a look at the reffing, all of that good stuff. Two different segments here, but we'll get through all of it one way or another. What were my Fearsome Four keys to the game? Well, number one was stop the run. I had concerns about this Rams defensive line being able to contain Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet was really a non-factor. Kenneth Walker had a decent game. What he finished with 64 yards. And interior defense was actually really good. I was pleasantly surprised with how well they did containing the run game, especially early. They did give up some yardage, but it wasn't horrible. The damage was done on the outside. The Rams did not seal the edge well. I talked about that in the recap as well. That's something they're going to have to fix. But generally, I thought they slowed down that Seahawk run game. And, there were some people predicting the Rams were just going to the Seahawks are going to run down the Rams' throat all day long. And that really wasn't the case. They got outside a few times, picked up some significant yardage, but certainly wasn't enough to slow down the Rams. The second thing I thought the Rams had to do to win this game was run the ball themselves. And I'm going to have to say I was a little disappointed in that respect. Cam Akers had a nice run early in the game, and Kyren Williams did some damage in the red zone. But I thought they would be more successful running behind this offensive line. But I'm not really that concerned. Cooper Kupp out of this game. This may have been a tactical thing by the Seahawks to try to deny the Rams the ability to run up the heart of their defense. And they suffered the consequences, though, Matthew Stafford having a big game. So the Rams need to improve running the ball, and it's going to be a tough task next week. Another really stout run defense up there in San Francisco. They'll be coming down to SoFi, see if the Rams can get that run game going. The third thing that was key to a Rams victory was really under the Seahawks' control and what the Rams could do to disrupt Geno Smith, which Geno Smith we're going to see. And it was not a good Geno Smith, and I'm not sure how much we put on him. How much is on him, and how much is just on this entire offense, and losing his two tackles, that didn't help either. And the fourth thing, and I think I nailed this one, and the Rams nailed this one, which receiver is going to step up with Cooper Kupp out? And the receivers were incredible. I mean, Puka Nacua, he looks like the real deal. Tutu Atwell got off to a slow start, but in the end there, he had some big catches, and we'll talk about that in a minute when we get to our Fearsome Four big plays. Big game for two of our receivers. Van Jefferson had a drop. That was kind of an awkward play. Should have had it, obviously, but it was he just turned awkwardly and did not really attack the ball like you should, and that fortunately did not end up costing us because we did score a TD on that drive. And what were my Fearsome Four big plays? Well, let's go back to the opening drive. 2nd and goal from Seattle 17. The Rams are down 3-0, and Stafford hits Puka for 16 yards down to the 1, and they're able to cap that drive shortly afterwards with the touchdown. That's a big play. You get pushed back. That's not an easy place to score from, as we know, and the big catch by Puka, and that kind of set the tone with Stafford and Puka for the whole game, I think. Second big play, Fearsome big play number 2. The Rams are down 13-7. Van Jefferson, this is their first drive of the second half. Van Jefferson has that drop. They pick up a first down anyways, and then 3rd and 8 from their own 48, a 44-yard pass play from Stafford to Tutu Atwell. And that was obviously a big play. led to Kyron Williams' second touchdown, and the Rams take the lead for good, go up 14-13. Third big play of the game, and yeah, I'm focusing on the defense here. On the offense here, the defense played very well, but I thought it was the offense that really carried the day for the most part. Not to belittle what the defense did, but the offense just kept on coming up with big plays, big play one after another, and then the defense sealed the deal at the end, like they have so many times against the Seahawks, it seems like, and Aaron Donald's always involved. But big play number 3, 4th and 1, Akers scores from the 1. It was the Rams were up 17-13 at that point. And yeah, you kick a field goal, you're still vulnerable, right? Especially with guys like Tyler Lockett. How many times has he had a big catch when you just think the Rams are trying to salt away a win, and then Seahawks come back with a big play, often involving Tyler Lockett. And so that 4th and 1 score by Akers made me feel a lot better. And then later in the 4th, the Rams were up 24-13, trying to run out the clock, and I'm still not in my comfort zone yet. And then that 3rd and 8 pass from Stafford to Puka Nacua on the sideline there, a thing of beauty. Man, that was an incredible play. Those are my fearsome 4 big plays of the game. Probably leaving out some plays that the defense made, but none of them were really, plays that really turned the tide in a significant way, or didn't have an impact on the outcome like these plays did, at least in my opinion. Worth noting, a couple of notes on this game, DK Metcalf was asked a few days before the game in a press conference, hey, what do you think of the Rams secondary? And he basically said, I don't think I can name a single one of them. By the way, that sequence with him, that was really a bad look for him. Just violates this contract that all these players have with each other. Play hard, play to the whistle, but no cheap shots where you're going to get someone unnecessarily hurt. And I don't know if I've ever seen Sean McVay as mad. And, the refs are going to miss stuff like that. I get it. But McVay got their attention, and I think somehow they became aware of what had happened, and they were not messing around on the next play. Before the next play, they flagged Metcalf. And I don't know if you characterize that as a makeup call, or the guy gets what he deserves, and really bad look for Metcalf. And he has a history of these types of bozo plays, playing outside the lines, and not doing much for his reputation. And I have a feeling if you go back and watch that handshake with Pete Carroll and Sean McVay, there was an apology in there somewhere about Metcalf's behavior, and it might have been something like, Sean, don't worry about it. I'm going to kick Metcalf's butt myself. And that would have been very fitting. We'll be back with a little bit more next up. We'll give out some kudos game balls, talk about the coaching, the refs, and anything else. Leftover items to talk about this big Rams win. The first place Los Angeles Rams flying home from a 30-13 win over the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, we got a little bit more on this Rams game. Let's get into our player props segment. Who deserves kudos? Well, there's quite a few, actually. How about that offensive line? That big, hulking offensive line. We haven't had an offensive line like this in a while. Paul Wally had texted me during the game that they averaged 304 pounds. And now run blocking may need a little bit of work. Wasn't bad, but the pass protection was pretty spot on. Matthew Stafford kept pretty clean the whole game. Had to scramble, ran for one first down or close to a first down, and that was the one where Mark Sanchez had the cute quip, "Unhitch your wagon, guy," and it was fun watching Stafford rumble like that. 1 yard short of the first down, I think it was, and then he had a quarterback sneak on the next play, I believe. But the offensive line did a great job, and Matthew Stafford, this is the Matthew Stafford the Rams traded for, and you're starting to understand how unhealthy he might have been last year, because he looked like a different guy. He was gunslinging it. Some of those throws he made, Some of them were a little bit risky, but pretty darn accurate. He had a couple of misconnections with Puka early in the game, probably more on the rookie than on Stafford. But man, he made some beautiful throws and just looks like he looks so confident, so healthy, mean and lean. Matthew Stafford, I like what I see. And hey, how about Raheem Morris? Everybody's expecting this defense to be horrible. How many times have I heard it over the last few weeks? This defense is going to get steamrolled. And I'm not talking about some of the guests on my show. It's valid for some of the guys that come on the show to be a little concerned. But these experts across the NFL that really know nothing about this defense, and Raheem Morris, he's just sitting back saying, okay, we'll see. We'll see what we got here. And got to give Raheem Morris some credit. It looked like that old bend, don't break defense early on, but he was rotating a lot of guys in, a lot of guys contributing, elevated their game. And I just think a lot of people just have no clue about what the Rams have on this defense. And if anybody knows, I would think it'd be Raheem Morris. And on the offensive side of the ball, kind of the same deal with Matthew Stafford. In the where did he say it? In the locker room as he brought the team in for a huddle. People on the outside of this locker room have no effing clue. Let them say what they want to say. I think it's basically I think I'm capturing that, not verbatim, but you get the idea. I love those post-game victory locker room rants by Sean McVay and some of his players. It's always good stuff. So who had bad games? Well, Van Jefferson, the one drop. Yeah, you got to call that out. If you're going to call anything out, I guess that would be the one. But I'll give Van Jefferson a pass. I think he'll catch the next one. And then, Michael Hoyt and Byron Young struggled at times still on the edge. I did not watch real closely yet or review the film yet. I suspect it's on them not doing a good job sealing the edge, especially Byron Young. But I think he's going to be a really good player. Don't get me wrong. And what about the coaching corner that I like to share? The one thing I do like is early in the game, the Rams deciding not to return those punts, didn't even field them. I'm wondering if they had some intelligence on this Seattle punter that he's not good at getting some reverse rotation on the ball, perhaps, because he had a couple punts that were landing inside the 5, and they both ended up in the end zone. It might seem risky, but I'm okay with that. Even if we end up at the 5 or 10s, sometimes I'm okay with that. I just do not like fielding punts that deep. Our return game hasn't been that good. It's really been fair catch, hand the ball to the offense. And in this case, the coaches, I think, made the decision to not field these punts. Kyron Williams, perhaps he made the call. Whoever made the call to let those punts go, I'm okay with that. And I want to say one thing about Tutu Atwell, too, that, during the game early on, I'm texting a couple people about how the Rams are playing and how Puka was playing. And we had thoughts of, hey, what could we get for Tutu Atwell when Cooper Kupp comes back? Your initial thought would be that, maybe Puka's going to sit, but I don't think so. But someone's going to sit. And our exchange was basically, hey, let's send him to the Chiefs for a 2026 seventh rounder, maybe. I don't know. Let's get something for him. I think I've changed my mind on that. This is really the first time we've seen a healthy Matthew Stafford and a somewhat experienced Tutu Atwell. And the guy's still extremely young, right? So pump the brakes on. Let's move on from Tutu Atwell. I understand that going into the game. I understand that sentiment, but at this point, I want to see a little bit more of Tutu Atwell, and I can't wait to see Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua on the field together. Could be a lot of fun. The reffing, I think there were a couple questionable calls early on that I didn't like that were, the home team gets those calls. Okay, we'll roll with it. But they got, The refs came back our way later in the game. We got a couple of calls that helped us out, borderline calls as well. And then the DK Metcalf getting disciplined, severe discipline issued by the refs on DK Metcalf, and could be some fines coming too, I would suspect. So that's all I got for this game, man. What a fun game. What a great way to start the season. The game, by the way, came on the under slightly. I think the final over-under was 45. We got to 43. I was taking the over, so I was wrong on that. Both these teams had long, methodical drives early in the game, which took a lot of time off. That reduced the score. And Seattle, their offense just became pretty pathetic late in the game when they lost their tackles. But the Rams obviously covered. I will come back later this week. I will have updated power rankings. I will have week 2 game picks. See how me and Matt did with our picks. I think he hurt me on one switch I made, but he helped me on the other. And of course, a preview of the Rams 49er game. Going to be interesting. I think the early odds are 49ers by 7. I get it. Sounds about right, actually. It's going to be a tough game for the Rams. I think right now, you would think the 49ers are better on both sides of the ball than the Rams, but the Rams can be competitive. Can they steal a win against the 49ers? We can only hope, right? So we'll have a preview of that game later in this week. For now, out here from Rams Up.